Darkrai with the signature move Dark Void, which is a move that has terrorized VGC. Not on this Pokemon since Darkrai hasn't been legal in VGC, but Smeargle with Dark Void has been an absolutely broken Pokemon. It is a move that can put both your opponents to sleep, and it is absolutely absurd. And we're going to be trying out the original Dark Void user, even though it is a bit nerfed, and seeing how well it can perform. This is a Sun team that features Gravity Sandy Shocks paired with the Darkrai. Let's break it down. First up, we have the Focus Sash Darkrai to allow it to live one strong move with the Bad Dreams ability, which means if Pokemon are sleeping at the end of the turn, it will do 1/8 of their HP and it will chip them away. With the Ghost Terra type, with the ability to just dodge the fake outs and extreme speeds, as well as any fighting moves that can hit the Darkrai, with the moveset of Dark Pulse, Blizzard, Dark Void, and Protect. EV spread's pretty simple with 4 HP, 252 special attack, and 252 speed with a timid nature. And yeah, simple Darkrai. So you might notice that we have the Focus Sash because Darkrai, it is decent defenses, but it's not the greatest. It's pretty frail when you consider all the powerful attacks that there are in the format. So you are running the Focus Sash, so it is able to hang on. And normally we would see Y lens, especially with the gravity, because Dark Void still isn't like the craziest accurate even in gravity. But this one, running the Focus Sash and just rely on the ability just to hit your Dark Voids, you know, just don't have that issue. Dark Pulse, of course, having a really strong Dark type coverage. Blizzard, which is interesting, but under gravity is going to always hit, and that's able to hit the dragons, is able to hit Rillaboom for some decent damage, and multiple Pokemon for some super effective coverage. So it is nice. You could run Focus Blast, or a lot of moves you could run on Darkrai. Even Hypnosis has been a thing to get around a wide guard, but this one opting for Blizzard for the coverage because it is able to hit flying types, because Ice and Ground is some pretty fantastic coverage, and Ice and Electric is also some pretty strong coverage as well. The EV spread is pretty simple, with again just going with max special attack, max speed. It is a frail cannon on this team, and really the job is just to get the Dark Void. Dark Void is the infamous move that Darkrai has access to. It used to be only available on Darkrai and Smeargle. Darkrai was never legal in VGC, but Smeargle has been, and it used to be able to use Dark Void, which was 80% chance to hit either of the Mons, and it is a spread move, so 80% accuracy to connect on both of those Mons. Yeah, it was pretty likely and had pretty good chances, so it was pretty absurd being able to sleep both of your opponent's Pokemon, so your ally could just set up in doubles. Yeah, it was really strong, but for some reason, when they decided to make it so that Smeargle couldn't use Dark Void anymore, they also changed it so Darkrai also had the Dark Void nerf, because they changed the accuracy the same time they disallowed Smeargle to be able to use it anymore, because it just fails if Smeargle tries to use Dark Void. So very interesting one, because I don't think Darkrai has ever been that crazy a mod. Maybe in singles, I don't know why they made both the changes at the same time, but I mean, it doesn't have the best speed in the world compared to all the speed creeps now, with base 135s being a thing. Now it's 125, so Darkrai is definitely taking a big hit. Dark Void, of course, can still be scary under the right conditions, and of course if you do land the Dark Voids. Next Pokemon we have is the Choice Banded Groudon with the Drought ability to summon the sun with the Ground Terra type to just power up its ground moves even further with Precipice Blades, High Horsepower, Heat Crash, and Rock Slide. Yep, with a gravity team, it makes a lot of sense just being able to wall break through those Pokemon with a Choice Banded Ground type attack, and it is extremely powerful. This EV spread, it actually is a pretty bulky one with 36 speed. Or the reason of 36 speed is because after a Icy Wind from the Flutter Mane, you're able to outspeed base 100s after they're at -1 speed. So that's pretty nice, being able to outspeed those max speed base 100s. You are able to dish out a ton of damage with 156 with an Adamant Nature, and that does allow you to just have an extra stat point in its attack and still throw off some really good damage. And it's just able to tank attacks because Groudon has a pretty good bulk with the max HP investment into 60 special defense to be able to take on moves from Kyogre if you're switching in, as well as the Astral Barrages from Calyrex, Shadow Riders, and Moongeist Beams from Lunala. Yeah, the Groudon can actually take a few hits, but mainly is meant to dish out a ton of damage utilizing the Choice Band Precipice Blades, as well as activating the Photosynthesis on your Paradox Pokemon. Next Pokemon we have is the Life Orb Raging Bolt with the Photosynthesis giving you a special attack booster while in the sunlight with the Electric Terra type to power up its electric moves even further and get rid of any weaknesses that it has as a Dragon type with Thunderbolt, Draco Meteor, Thunderclap, and Protect. So this is a pretty standard Raging Bolt. It is a really powerful one with the Sun special attack Photosynthesis with Life Orb and Terra Electric. It really does a ton of damage, and of course you do want some heavy sweepers while the Darkrai is putting things to sleep, you want to be able to hit for some pretty heavy damage. And the idea of the Choice Band Groudon alongside this Life Orb Raging Bolt, yeah, it is a lot of damage, with the EV spread being pretty simple. Max special attack, so you're getting as much damage output as you can. You have 188 speed, which is allowing you to outspeed like stuff like Pelipper, I guess, if you absolutely need it. But across the board, it is one of the faster Raging Bolts, so if you do fight an opposing Raging Bolt, maybe you'll be able to outspeed. Still has a decent amount of bulk, of course, with 68 HP, and what that allows you to do is basically it is a number that is -1 of a number divisible by 10, so you take less Life Orb recoil, but also you still get the maximum amount of grassy terrain that you can with the Raging Bolt, or at least you get a number divisible by 16 and then +1 for the odd HP stat for Ruination and Super Fang calcs for being remainder 51%, as well as getting a good amount from grassy terrain, getting an extra hit point every turn when they bring a Rillaboom is pretty nice, because the team is a little bit weak to Rillaboom, so you still have a fast Raging Bolt and still is kind of optimizing that HP number. Next Pokemon we have is the Choice Specs Fluttermane with the Photosynthesis, giving me a speed booster while under the sun, with the Fairy Terra type to power up its fairy moves even further. Also get rid of that ghost typing, so you're no longer weak to ghost type attacks, with the Moonblast, Dazzling Gleam, Shadow Ball, and Icy Wind. Yeah, we don't really commonly see Choice Specs Fluttermane as much anymore, and normally we see Focus Sash, but with Focus Sash on Darkrai and again a really strong powerful sun mode, why not go with an offensive sweeper? Choice Specs Fairy type coverage is absolutely absurd, especially with ghost coverage as well. It can just do a ton of damage, threaten a lot of Pokemon in the format, especially with that Moonblast and Shadow Ball. Has the Icy Wind for speed control if you need it, so you can go for like an Icy Wind under the sun and allow the Darkrai, the Groudon, or Raging Bolt to be able to outspeed things, which is pretty nice. The EV spread is pretty simple, just max special attack, max speed with 4 HP. Kind of surprised it doesn't have a bit more bulk for like Sucker Punches or Grassy Glides guaranteed. However, this Fluttermane mainly is just dishing out a ton of damage, and really that is all it really needs to do. Next Pokemon we have is the Covert Cloak Tornadus, which prevents the secondary effects like the fake out flinches and any Icy Wind, Electro Web, stat drops, etc., with the Prankster ability, which gives a +1 priority to any of its non-attacking moves, with the Dark Terror type to help out against resisting Calyx Shadow Rider, Astro Barrage, immune to the psychic moves, Lunala Moongeist Beam, as well as the Prankster Taunt and Encore you could face from opposing Tornadus, as well as the Whimsicott with Bleak Wind, Tailwind, Taunt, and Protect. It's a pretty standard Tornadus. You have the Bleak Wind Storm, a really strong spread move, which does become more accurate in Gravity, which is very nice. The Tailwind support, of course, so allowing the Darkrai or any of the Pokemon to really outspeed opposing teams and matching other Tailwinds. The Taunt to be able to shut down Trick Room or any setups like against a Moongus is very nice as well. And then Protect to keep itself around. The EV spread, you have max HP, you have 212 speed with a modest nature. The 212 speed just allows you to speed creep like stuff like the max speed base 90s. It does also allow you to outspeed, I believe, no speed Miraidon or Koraidons out there. And then the 36 special attack, so you actually do a good amount of damage. The modest nature does give an extra stat point, but it allows you a really good chance to be able to knock out the Urshifus with your Bleak Winds, especially the non-bulky ones. So that is the idea of this Tornadus. It's hard, has the Tailwind support. You would like a bit more special attack, of course, on this Tornadus, because the Rillaboom can be a little bit annoying because the team does exactly have the best Grassy Glide switching, so you kind of need to do as much damage as possible immediately to it so you can get that knockout. And having Bleak Wind is, of course, really strong flying coverage. The Tailwind support is pretty much nice. Having a ground immunity, of course, for the team is pretty helpful. And yeah, like Tornadus is just a good Pokemon in restricted formats. Final Pokemon on this team is going to be your Booster Energy Sandy Shocks, which gives a speed booster and does have the speed booster Photosynthesis in case you need it with the Sunlight on the Groudon, with the Ghost Terror type, which is able to help out against Fake Out, Extreme Speed, as well as fighting moves like the Body Press from Zamazenta, with the moveset of Thunderbolt, Earth Power, Gravity, and Protect. The EV spread is also just max speed with a Tim Nature because you want to be able to utilize that Booster Energy Photosynthesis, and then having bulk so the Sandy Shocks can just stick around and live a really strong hit, with 4 special attack as going to be your remainder. So Sandy Shocks, the main goal of the Sandy Shocks is to set up the Gravity with the Darkrai, and of course it does have Sun on this team, so you can have the Groudon with the Sandy Shocks in and have the Sunlight, so you don't even have to consume your boost energy. So you might be wondering why have the boost energy, but of course you won't be leading or you won't always have the Sun with the Groudon because of the fact that sometimes you'll want to lead Sandy Shocks and Darkrai immediately. and go for the gravity. But the problem is Darkrai just naturally outspeeds the Sandy Shocks without that speed booster, and that's why you have the booster energy, because it allows you a more consistent mode there. Also in end games, you might actually need the speed boost, and sometimes you'll lead with Groudon and the sun turns have faded, so having that boost energy can be a nice backup there. It is just simply get up the gravity for the support. It's able to outspeed Choice Scarf Urshifu as well naturally, which is nice, so it can throw off a Thunderbolt, fit into Miraidon, so it can threaten the Earth powers for some heavy damage. Does have the gravity support for the Darkrai as well as your Groudon, so you're able to really fire off these really inaccurate attacks and hopefully either put them to sleep and build up the momentum, or dish out a ton of damage to Groudon, because it does bring down the opposing Pokemon. So any flying types, any levitators are vulnerable to Precipice Blades, as well as does decrease the evasion by 2, which means that Dark Void is more accurate. It's not guaranteed to hit. The other moves are with the Precipice Blades, the High Horsepower, the Bleak Wind, and I believe the Blizzard are guaranteed to hit under gravity. Just the Dark Void is way more accurate and has a likely chance to hit. So how to use the team overall? A lot of the team, you do have a few different things. You do have a Tailwind Sun offense mode with Tornadus, Groudon, Raging Bolt, and Flutter Mane. Just dish out a ton of damage, right? You have really strong fire output with the Choice Specs Flutter Mane, you have the Choice Band Groudon, and you have the Life of Raging Bolt, all powerful in the sun especially, so you can just break through opponents that way. But you also have, of course, this more Darkrai Sandy Shocks that can be disruptive, especially if the team that you are facing doesn't have a Miraidon, because you can go for that gravity in the Dark Void combination and really put things to sleep, build up the damage with the Bad Dreams from the Darkrai, and then bring in one of your sweepers, whether it's the Groudon, the Raging Bolt, or the Flutter Mane, to really dish out heavy amounts of damage. Those are probably your main ones. You have a lot of different leads with the team. Of course, Tornadus can lead anything. With Tailwind support, you could even lead Tornadus plus Darkrai, and if you feel lucky, you can go for that Dark Void immediately if you feel like you can hit the Dark Voids, or you could just go for the damage immediately. Tornadus, Flutter Mane for really strong Fairy type coverage. Under Tailwind, of course, just dish out heavy amounts of damage right off the bat. You could lead the Torn plus the Groudon, or Torn plus Raging Bolt, fire off some pretty good damage that way. And of course, Torn Sandy Shocks can actually work out, because you could go for Tailwind, Gravity, set up the Dark Void or the Groudon afterward, so that is also another factor. Other leads, of course, include Sandy Shocks plus Darkrai, pretty common for that Gravity Dark Void combination. Sun mode, of course, with Groudon Flutter Mane and Groudon Raging Bolt. You could also lead any of your Photosynthesis mons and play a mind game like Flutter Mane Raging Bolt, so you can switch into Groudon and then dish out heavy amounts of damage. So yeah, you have quite a few different ways, and really it's just be able to break through with the Sun mode and setting up utilizing the Dark Void or the Tailwind to really break through the opposing team. If you'd like to check out the details of the team and the creator, they'll be linked in the description down below. And let me know in the comments down below, what do you think of Darkrai? Because I think Darkrai is a really cool mon, especially because Gen 4 was one of the main games that I owned, the first main games that I owned. And I thought Darkrai, really cool design. I like the movie. I like Darkrai a lot. Dark Void I thought was a cool concept. Granted, as long as it's not allowed in competitive, I think it's really cool. But I feel like with the fun formats with Darkrai, I don't think its signature move should have been nerfed when they got rid of Smeargle, so only Darkrai could use Dark Void. I think Darkrai should have kept Dark Void 80 accuracy, and been in those formats like Ubers and stuff that are unofficial and been fine there. But yeah, singles has its sleep clause, and then doubles restricted or mythicals are just fun formats. They aren't actual official tournament formats. So I think it was fine, but they really nerfed Darkrai to the ground, and I felt like it was unnecessary. I felt like just allowing Smeargle not to have it was great. Otherwise, maybe Dark Void nerf if Smeargle did keep it, but I think Smeargle not getting it was pretty perfect of a change. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, but otherwise, let's get started and play some games. All right, we have Deoxys, Attack, Kyogre, Indeedee, Urshifu with Amoonguss and Landorus Incarnate. So Dark Void Darkrai is looking pretty tempting here. We also do have a Groudon, which is also pretty dang good in this matchup. So let's see, I definitely will be leading the Darkrai. I don't know if I want to lead Sandy Shocks. I think I do. I'm just kind of curious if it's Scarf Kyogre or Scarf Urshifu. I am speed booster and I'm pretty fast, so I should be able to outspeed, but I'm not 100% confident. But I do think it is to play most likely. Don't think I need Flutter Mane. I think it's Groudon Raging Bolt. I am a little bit scared of the Landorus, so it might not be Raging Bolt. It might be Flutter instead. especially since I don't have a way to change terrain. And I think that's actually pretty huge, because since I don't have a way to change terrain, it makes Raging Bolt a lot less useful here. So I think I will go with the Flutter Mane, because I can't like Thunderclap. They have multiple redirection as well. So even though like Raging Bolt's good to switch in, it can't really do that much to like the Kyogre because of the double redirection. We're gonna see Urshifu plus the Entity, okay, versus my Sandy Shocks and my Darkrai. So I guess the question is, are you Scarf on the Urshifu? I kind of want to say yes, but I have no idea what you're going to go for here, because that is a big question. I don't think Surging Strikes gets my Darkrai. I think I would be willing to risk just going for the Dark Void immediately and going for a Thunderbolt. The reason I would do this is because if they decide to switch into Kyogre, if they're not Terra Grass Urshifu, they get destroyed by Thunderbolt. I think that's worth it. I think I am going to go for Thunderbolt and Dark Void here. Let's see if this is worth it, because I could get Terra Water. They could go for Follow Me, Surging Strikes, they outspeed, KO my Darkrai. Wouldn't it be a fun time? Sandy Shocks does outspeed the Urshifu, but the Entity is kind of annoying here. They do make the Kyrie switch. Okay, so are you Terra Grass? Because that's going to be a big question. If you're Terra Grass, I'm in a good spot. If it's Terra, if it doesn't Terra, I'm in fine a spot. Beautiful. I get the Thunderbolt off into the Urshifu, and I pick up the knockout. So I got him on the bluff. Expected the potential Kyogre switch if they weren't Terra Water, because they don't knock out Darkrai with just regular Surging Strikes. And I landed Dark Void into the Kyogre. What a fantastic turn one. I could not have asked for a better turn one. That is incredible. Bad Dream's going to chip the Kyogre just a bit. The Entity now no longer has the Psychic Seed, and I can go for Gravity Dark Void here. I could also go for Thunderbolt plus Dark Pulse. Granted, they have Terrassization, and they could go for Trick Room, so I don't think that's ever worth it. We're going to go for the Dark Void, and we're going to go for the Gravity here. We got to make sure the Entity sleeps. Instant forfeit. Instant forfeit. What a way to start out the video with Darkrai and Sandy Shocks combo. But yep, I'm not too surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Terra Water Urshifu, and I did get him, because they had to choose between either not KOing my Darkrai with Surging Strikes, or with the ability to Follow Me to redirect the attack from the Sandy Shocks, or go to Kyogre. In that case, you left the Urshifu vulnerable, and I caught them on that. Zamazenta, Raging Bolt, Urshifu, Rillaboom, Tornadus, and Calyx Shadow Rider. A classic, and I mean classic Calyx Shadow Rider plus Zamazenta team. Alright, what am I doing against this? I could just lead Torn plus Groudon, which isn't a bad combo, but it's probably Rain Dance Torn, so I have to be fearful of that. I could just lead Flutter. Like, I don't mind leading Flutter, or Darkrai. Darkrai actually wouldn't be a terrible lead here. I think Darkrai plus Torn actually is correct, because unless they lead Zamazenta, which I don't know if they do, maybe lead Zamazenta Torn could lead, but I don't know, that seems so weak to Groudon. But I think it's fine even if they do that. Yeah, no, it's fine if they do that. I think I just lead have Flutter Mane and Groudon back. Yeah, because I'm not huge on the Sandy Shocks in this game. It can come to work, but Flutter Mane just puts on so much offensive pressure in the sun. We do have to get rid of Torn quickly, and I didn't bring any of my electric types to break through the Torn quickly, but I think we can manage. Let's see what they lead here. Going to be Torn plus a Calyx. Okay, so this is the best lead here, which was Darkrai and a Torn, because I can go for Dark Void if I want to. Yeah, I can go for Dark Void if I want to. Dark Void Bleakwind might actually be really good here, because they probably are just going to Tailwind with the Torn. I'm not max speed, so I can't go for the Taunt Speed tie. Yeah, I think Dark Void... I mean, if I get the Dark Void, I'm in a good spot, so I think I'm willing to go for it. There's also a chance Calyx protects or even swaps here, so I think I'm going to go for Bleakwind and Dark Void, just get the damage. We do see the protect from the Calyx, so this might be Bleakwind here, which I think makes a lot of sense here. Yeah, it is Dark Void. We missed a Torn. That's how it goes sometimes. Okay. Bleakwind. Well, I don't even know if they put me into range of the I think I missed both moves on the Torn. Unfortunate. And they land both. That's a classic. Okay. No speed drop though. Okay, I think I might live in Astral Barrage here. But yeah, we're gonna go for Dark Void and we're gonna go for Bleak Wind again. And Darkrai, you kind of need to step up the game. Look, I know you that first win was really good, but you can't be slacking off. You kind of have to get the attacks off. Okay, we see a terrorization for my opponent, which what is it going to be? Calyx, are you Terra Ghost? I think the only thing that KOs me is Terra Ghost Life, if I'm not mistaken. At least at the health I'm at, but maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. But I am going to go for Terra Dark, and I will go for the Dark Void, because it is my best option here. Because if I get it, I'm in a good spot, and they're definitely going to Tailwind Astral Barrage in this situation. They might have done it just to KO the Torn. Oh, wow, they didn't. Wait, what? I could have just Dark Voided. What? Okay. Yeah, I didn't KO either of my Mons. We do get a Dark Void off this time. And the Torn dodges. Again. Oh my god. This Torn has dodged 4 of those moves. And I can't hit a single one and they just hit double. Oh my goodness. This game sometimes. Okay. Trying to think if I can win. I think I can. I think it's really unlikely to though. Can I? Sure. I think I lose though. I'm like pretty confident I lose here. So I bring out the Flutter and I bring out the Groudon. And I mean, I am going to go for a Shadow Ball into the... Oh, the Torn's at full health. No way I can win. If I had Gravity, sure, but definitely not. It actually stings. I had like a really good lead, but I just decided to miss every move with my Darkrai. Or my Darkrai just decided never to hit a move. I think I need Calyx. Maybe Calyx stays asleep for multiple turns, but even then... I definitely block in the Moonblast here, and I have to Moonblast a Torn. Okay. You might be thinking, okay, they have Protect Torn too. Yeah, this is so cooked. You might be thinking, why did I high horsepower to Torn? I think in order to win this game, I was hoping, okay, they go for Tailwind, they go for a Astral Barrage here, but they're going to stay asleep. I think I needed like the Calyx to take multiple sleep turns to have a chance to win this game. And if I high horsepower to Calyx and they Tailwind, they get a free switch to Zama. And I was hoping to stall out a Tailwind turn by doing this, because the Torn with Bleak Wind, like the Bleak Wind damage doesn't really matter to my Flutter because I'm getting knocked out by the Zama's into the Heavy Slam. So that's why I decided, hey, I'm going to try stall out Tailwind turns. Granted, it's not going to work out because they have Protect. They're going to go for a Tailwind now. If they wake up, it's game over. But I mean, I think the game was over anyway when my Darkrai decided to miss a bunch. And they wake up too. Darkrai. Darkrai. I know we have to use Gravity, but... I think, yeah, could have been way better, Darkrai. It could have been way better. But yeah, now I just lose because I can't hit the Torn. I don't have Flutter anymore to put on pressure against the Torn and potentially the Urshifu back. Yeah. I think if I hit the first Dark Void and a Torn, I'm in a good spot because I can just go for Dark Pulse Bleak Wind at that point. It's not even that big of a deal anymore because I think that was the one Dark Void I needed to hit. When I missed a Torn, I did have to go for a Dark Void and double hit, or at least hope that they missed Bleak Wind at that point. But yeah, I mean, Dark Void has been significantly nerfed, and granted, I don't think it deserved it because it's only a Darkrai. If Smeargle still had it, absolutely, but I think Darkrai is not as threatening as people think it is. I don't think it is. All right, we have the Calyx, Shadow Rider, Miraidon, Rillaboom, Incineroar with Volcarona and Clefairy. So I have a pretty big suspicion we're probably not going to see the Rillaboom. They are really weak to Banded Precipice Blades though, so I think that is the plan, to go for the Banded Precipice Blades. They don't have the best switch in, so I think that's the idea here. I do like the Groudon lead with the Torn a lot. Or even Torn Flutter works pretty well, but I do absolutely love Torn plus Groudon. And yeah, like they don't have the best answers to deal with Torn itself. Bleakwind actually does a ton of damage to their team. I like the Torn Groudon lead. I think I go with Flutter Mane, because Flutter Mane's really good offensively other than into the Volcarona, which is a little bit scary. But I mean, I mostly have special attackers, so the Volcarona is going to be terrifying regardless. And then I'm going to bring the Darkrai as coverage. And yeah, of course, threaten the Calyx, Shadow Rider, be a switch into Astro Barrage. I think it definitely puts in enough work to justify it. I could bring my own Raging Bolt again, but you know what? We are showcasing Darkrai. It's definitely viable in this matchup, so I will be bringing it here. Especially if they do want to bring Rillaboom because it's their only ground resist and they set up the grassy terrain, then I can go for the Dark Void. So I'm completely all right with that. Let's see what they decide to do. Maybe they even lead the Rillaboom turn one with like Calyrex and then have Miraidon back. That would be interesting, but I think I have plenty of counterplay. So let's see what they decide here. Gonna be the Calyx and Incineroar, so that's completely fine, as I do lead the Groudon into Torn here. And I will just go for Precipice Blades immediately, and I'm gonna go for a Bleakwind here just to get some damage, because I think I can get a Tailwind up the next turn, which would be pretty nice. And if I do go for a Bleakwind here, I probably put the Calyx into range with like Banded Heat Crash if I want to. So I do think that is probably the play here. I should live in Astral Barrage easily. They could go for Nasty Plot, but I don't know if they really want to do that because it does leave them vulnerable. So I am just going to go for a Bleakwind immediately, and I'm going to go for Precipice Blades. I could go into Darkrai as well, but I don't think it's necessary. They do go for the Fake Out into the Groudon, as we do see Nasty Plot. I could have taunted, but not the biggest deal in the world. Let's see. We land the Bleakwind at least into Calyx. We do. Beautiful. That's good damage. Yeah, speed drop on the Incineroar, not that big of a deal. Now the question is the upcoming turn. I think they might have Clefairy in the back, so a play that they could make is to go for the Clefairy Hard Switch for Incineroar and just go for an Astral Barrage, because Tailwind and Precipice Blades is super obvious. Or what they might do instead is they might actually say, hey, I'm going to go for a... Actually, I don't have Terra Fire. I do have Terra Ground to keep in mind. So my best play is probably just a Tailwind here and go for a... I think it's just go for the Terra Ground Precipice Blades. Yeah. Actually, no, it's just to go for regular Precipice Blades, because I don't... Actually, no, it's to Terra Ground Precipice Blades. They didn't go Clef? Did they protect Calyrex? Because that's kind of crazy to me, not going to Clef, like hard switching Clef. I guess they're protecting, but they protect. I get the KO on Incineroar, which is actually kind of massive, and I get Tailwind up. Yeah, exactly. So they protect Calyrex, but I should be able to KO the Incineroar. Do they have Rillaboom back? I guess if they have Rillaboom back is interesting, but even then, like next turn, because he didn't go on the offense with Clef as a switch, unless he didn't bring Clef, that would make sense to me. But I'm about to KO Incineroar with this Choice Band Precipice Blades here to take the knockout. And now, even if you get Clef in and have Friend Guard, if I hit my inaccurate attacks onto the Calyrex, I'm pretty sure Banded, Terra Ground, Precipice Blades, even at -1 with Bleakwind, KOs the Calyrex. So that's why I'm kind of shocked they didn't go on the offense, because now I think they're actually in a way worse spot. But yeah, we go for a Bleakwind, we go for Precipice Blades, and if we land both, I think we just instant win the game here. So very shocked about that decision, but we'll definitely take it. Now, maybe they have some terrestrialization here that can help them in this game, like Terra Grass or Terra Flying. Those are very rare on Calyrex. And if you go for Terra Grass, obviously you get hit by the Bleakwind super effectively, so I don't think you would even survive the combo. Of course, you're probably hoping for a dodge here. If you get the dodge, it is of course annoying, but I think it's still playable for me. But yeah, let's see what they can really do. They do go for terrestrialization, which is interesting. So what is terrestrializing? It has to be the Calyrex. Okay, into what? Fairy Fairy. So they're probably going to go for Draining Kiss, hope that one of my attacks misses, and then go for the Draining Kiss KO. I don't know if that would KO though. They're only a +2. Oh, they are hoping for misses. They are hoping for misses to get the KO with the attack. Okay, we land the Bleak Wind, so that's one of the attacks hit. We just need one of the attacks into the Calyx, and it looks like we double hit both, so this should be a knock on the Calyx. Clef probably lives this barely. Yeah. But we KO Calyx, and I'm pretty sure last month's Miraidon, they used their terrorization. If I hit my moves, I win the game. But even if I miss, I still have a Fluttermane and Darkrai in the back, which Dazzling Gleam is looking really good on Fluttermane, because especially the Miraidon is choice locked. I don't see how they can really touch it, because they have to like Draco Meteor to Groudon to hit it, or maybe like Dazzling Gleam, but that doesn't do any damage to Flutter. So now we go for Bleak Wind, Precipice Blades. I don't have to protect Horn. There's no reason to. They go for Helping Hand with the Miraidon. Are you Scarf Miraidon? I hit the Bleak Wind. I KO Clef, so Friend Guard's no longer active. We are getting pretty lucky hitting these attacks, especially because, you know, we're outside of gravity, but these aren't like the big... I did not miss a single inaccurate attack, and they can't hit the one Draco Meteor they went for. Granted, did it matter in the end game? They KO Groudon, sure, but their Choice Scarf to outspeed my Groudon. And because they went for Draco Meteor, they just auto lose to Fluttermane because they can't hit the Fluttermane in the end game. But that is just hilarious. Yep. I don't know what they were thinking. I think they had to go for the hard Clef switch in and Precipice Blades, but maybe they were not expecting my maybe they expected like a Solvus Groudon, so maybe they thought they had room, but no, this is Choice Band Groudon. This does damage. All right, we have Arceus, Miraidon, Incineroar, Farigiraf, Chien-Pao, and Landorus Incarnate. Fortunately, looks like we're not having some Dark Void fun today. Should be like, should be normal Arceus based on color. So what am I doing here? Chien-Pao's a bit threatening. Fluttermane is really tough for them though. Like Groudon Sandy Shock's lead might be really strong against them actually. I don't think I need Torn in this game. I'm pretty sure I don't. I think I do Sandy Shocks plus Groudon. It's a really weird lead, but I think it could work out really well. And then in the back, I guess it's going to be Darkrai and the Fluttermane. Yeah, I just highly discourage them from... Like, I have some pretty decent pressure with the Groudon plus the Sandy Shocks combo. Unfortunately, I'm not fast Groudon, so I can't threaten like Icy Wind and the POW plus a knockout. Or I see Arceus plus Incineroar, which is an interesting one. Okay. Versus Sandy Shocks and the Groudon. Okay. So I do need damage in Arceus. They're gonna fake out the Groudon, right? I mean, do I Gravity here? I feel like Gravity is pointless. I need to damage more. I think we go for an Earth Power into the Arceus and we go for Precipice Blades. We just go for the damage. I don't see a problem with that. I guess I should have went for... Oh, wow. They faked out. Okay. They faked out the Sandy Shock. So I get some pretty good damage in Arceus. And I get like huge damage to Incineroar. So I'll definitely take it. Nice. I land both blades. I get good damage. Yeah, really good damage. Okay, we'll take that. That's a good start. To knock out Groudon, I'm pretty sure you have to go Chien-Pao. So I'm just gonna go for a... Earth Power into the Incin. Actually, no, I Thunderbolt because there's no way they're switching the Landers for the Incin, I think. And then I Precipice Blades. Okay. We do see the switch. This should be Chien-Pao. Sure, I could have went into Fluttermane, but I think this is still an okay position. Yep. That's Pow. They do go for the Terra. What Terra are you actually? Because are you Terra normal? Okay. I should have definitely went into Flutter Mane here, and I almost did go for the read, but I didn't think it was necessary. But maybe I should have, because I knew that this was most likely coming out. They go for the extreme speed into... Oh, they target Sandy Shocks, actually. So this actually works out better. Yeah, this works out way better. Okay. Oh, please hit the POW. Groudon! Oh, this is bad. That's extremely bad. I'm gonna have to go for a bailout play, which is Dark Void Flutter. Ah, that's just such a bad turn. It's such a bad turn. I need to go for Dark Void. They're gonna switch out. Is this Miraidon? I mean, this isn't that bad if it's Miraidon. Yeah, they go Miraidon. Because they could extreme speed and it doesn't change anything here. And at least the Moonblast is still putting on a lot of offensive pressure. So I think this still works out for me. But the problem is I don't think I can knock out the Arceus. It should be admin Arceus, right? So it shouldn't be a speed type with my Darkrai. The problem is I think I'm losing the POW in the end game. I will Terra my Arceus into Ghost. They did extreme speed my Flutter slot, and I did attempt to go for Dark Void. I think by Dark Pulse I was in a better spot. I think I should have. Okay. Do I think this is Scarf Miraidon, or do I think it's Specs? Because if it's Scarf, I'm losing anyway. Because Electro Drift would probably KO the Flutter Mane. I'd have to Dark Pulse flinch to Arceus, and even then, I think it's super unlikely I would win. I think I'm going to Dark Pulse the Arceus, and I think I just go for Gleam. Because I can hope for a crit. Okay. Gleam does really good damage. Wait, they Volt Switch to Arceus? What? Wait, because they Volt Switch Arceus, I KO the... Or they Volt Switch to Darkrai. I now KO to Arceus. I'm very shocked that that wasn't into my Flutter Mane, but maybe they thought, okay, they were guessing on the Sash game, but they thought I was Sash Flutter. So this works out huge. I get a Dark Pulse KO into Arceus, and now because it's Instant, I don't think Instant can do much here. So I have a decent chance to win this game. Qianpao comes in. I mean, I always just Dazzling Gleam and Dark Pulse the Qianpao. And just gotta hope that I live Sucker, which I don't know if I do because this is not a bulky Flutter. I could go Groudon, I suppose. Oh, they protect. Wait, they protect the thing. Okay. Interesting. I get the Dazzling Gleam KO on the Instant, so I guess they want Miraidon in. They're stalling out the turns of Electric Terrain, though. What's the Miraidon gonna lock into? Sunlight Fades. Did they want to stall out for this Photosynthesis? Miraidon in. Do I want to gamble on the Speed Tie? Or do I just want to gamble me living Sucker? I think I just gamble on me living Sucker. I'm gonna go into Groudon and Gleam. Because we still don't know if it's Scarf Miraidon, because it could just be slower Scarf than my... Well, they would have to be max speed Scarf to outspeed my Flutter. Speed Booster. Sucker Punch. Oh, clutch Flutter! Clutch! And that wins the game. 1 HP. 1 HP. I actually was not sure if we were living that. Oh. Because I have no idea if this is admin or Jolly Pal. But it works out huge. Now we guarantee the win with Heat Crash and Dazzling Gleam. Oh man, I did not think we were going to be winning that after the... Well, I mean, we got like good turns, right? Like turn 1, I just decided to attack and it worked out extremely well. I felt like it was kind of bad when I got the play wrong with them switching out. If I got like a Dark Pulse off, it would have been huge. Like if I got Dark Pulse off instead of going for the attack, I think I would have been in a fantastic spot. I think I should have Dark Pulse to Arceus, but I was just so worried about the POW attack. But they were scared of the Dark Void chance that they went Miraidon. If I go for Dark Pulse into Arceus there, I think I win the game because I can Moonblast the Miraidon instead of going for a Dazzling Gleam. I KO'd a Miraidon and then max speed Darkrai should outspeed the Arceus because I'm assuming it's adamant because they're extreme speed. Terra Normal, and then I go for Dark Pulse with my Darkrai. I KO the Arceus because Dark Pulse should be a 2-shot, and then I'd win the game, I think, against the POW instant remaining. But oh, Fluttermane clutched it up. Fluttermane absolutely clutched it up. Iron Valiant, Kyogre, Calyx Ice Rider, Tornadus, Landers, and the Urshifu. Landers Incarnate. Okay. So they have Tailwind stuff. They're probably leading, I'd imagine it's either Urshifu Torn or they lead Torn plus the Land. I think it's Torn Landers or Torn Ursh. That's what I'm thinking because Lando's pretty good, but we'll see. What do I want to go here? I think I lead Flutter. I think Flutter's a really good lead with Torn. I am going to auto lose if they lead Cali Ice, but I think it's worth risking because I don't know if they'll lead Cali Ice in this game. They would just get susceptible to Dark Void potentially, unless they want to lead Iron Valiant, which I guess they could. Be a bit surprised by, but definitely a possibility. I think in the back, I just do my Darkrai and I do my Groudon. I am leaving the Electrics behind, which is a bit unfortunate, but when I need Tailwind against opposing Tailwind, and then you have to bring Groudon, I think Flutter is like one of my best mons that does okay damage to Lando without going down immediately. Okay, this is a pretty good lead, I'd say. This is a pretty good lead, I'd say. No way you wide guard in this situation. I think I just go for a Dazzling Gleam immediately, and I think I Tailwind. Yeah, I don't mind this. I'm just going to go for Dazzle Tailwind. If they switch out the Torn to Calyx and protect the Iron Valiant, that's fine. Did we see Booster Energy, actually? Maybe it's Focus Sash. I don't think we saw Booster Energy, if I'm not mistaken. So let's see. I might be wrong. Oh wait, this could also be the Trick and Valiant stuff. Oh no, I should have Bleak Winded. I think it is. I completely forgot that they could run this too. I completely forget. Oh, they just Spirit Break. Okay, that's fine. And they miss Bleak Wind on Flutter, which is nice. It's not necessary, but it's nice. Okay, we go for Dazzling Gleam and we go for Taunt into the Torn. It might be... Well, that Gleam did a lot of damage. It's no bulk Torn. I have no idea if you're Torn can set up Tailwind. Do you have Mental Herb? Because you're not Terra Dark. We go for the Taunt into Torn. I mean, if we get it, we're in a good spot. But even if we don't, it's not like terrible, I suppose. Yeah, it is not Mental Herb. So I do get a Dazzling Gleam off. Okay. Like KO the Torn, that's a good spot because Flutter is still in a really advantageous position. They're probably going Cali Ice now. I'm probably just clicking Bleak Wind plus Dazzling Gleam for damage. Oh wait, they went Kyogre? What? I go Groudon? This has to be Wide Guard, right? I feel like the reason they did this is because it's wide guard Valiant. I think my best play is just to go for either hard Groudon switch and go Groudon. It's either hard Groudon switch and taunt or just sack both of these. I think I'd rather go to Groudon and taunt. I'm pretty sure I don't go down to Spirit Break plus Water Spout unless they're like specs. Like, I feel like you only go Kyogre if you're wide guard. Like, that's the only reason I would say you would make this play. So let's go Groudon and taunt. This also covers like any Trick Room stuff in the future. Oh, Valiant retreats. Okay, this also makes sense to me. But I thought they were gonna do this with Cali. Oh, they didn't bring Cali Ice. It's Lando. Okay, I get a taunt off into the Lando, so it can't protect. And they Origin Pulse, so this doesn't do too much. Yeah, my Groudon actually took that really well. Okay. I think Heat Crash into Bleak Wind is actually really good here, and I will go for it because that should knock out the Lando unless they Terra Water. And yeah, the Kyogre's most likely switching out here, so I should be able to KO the Valiant, which is really nice for me. Okay. Of course, we have to hit one of the Bleak Winds, but we hit both, which is very fortunate. So we KO the Valiant. I don't know. Heat Crash also might have been able to KO Lando because it's Choice Band, but it depends on if the Lando has bulk. But I don't think that's bulky Lando. It didn't take that Bleak Wind super well. Heat Crash going to come out, knock out the Lando. I mean, granted, we still have to hit moves in the end game, but this is probably one of the best turns I could have really asked for here. So I have no idea if it's Scarf Kyogre back as well. So that's something I'm going to keep in mind. So I will keep that in mind. I think my best play here is just to sack Flutter Mane. Go out in, yeah, sack Flutter Mane, go for a Protect. Yeah. It was either sack, well, I'm definitely sacking Flutter Mane here because I want the sun up. I think my best place is to probably go Darkrai, right? And Dark Void afterward. Yes. Because like Kyogre breaks Sash. I mean, I guess like I could still do something. Nah, I actually go Groudon. Nah, I just go Groudon actually. Because under the sun, Darkrai might be able to beat the Kyogre by itself. Or at least maybe take multiple Origin Pulses. Our Terra does not matter. So we go Groudon, we click Tailwind, and we click High Horsepower with Terra Ground. Because out of any inaccurate move, I'd rather go for High Horsepower since it gives us the best odds, and all I really need is damage on Kyogre, and I Tailwind. So in case this is Choice Scarf Kyogre, I have a better advantage. I did debate about going Darkrai and going for Dark Void, but I don't think it was worth it. They have Terastization still available, but it shouldn't matter. I guess they could Terra Grass here. But if they have Terra Grass, it's not even that bad, I think. Because they shouldn't be able to knock out the Groudon unless they Spout. And they have to dodge a High Horsepower to do that. And no Terra came out. I do hit the Terra Ground, High Horsepower, and that should win the game. Yeah, because even if Kyogre survives, it takes a knock on a Torn. Oh, it doesn't even knock out the Torn. Okay. I mean, I would have been fine with that because Darkrai just wins the game. They needed to crit the Groudon too. Like, they needed to dodge the High Horsepower, crit the Groudon, and then... Or dodge just multiple High Horsepowers at that point. But yeah, now I just win the game. With Darkrai in the back, seals it. They're going to forfeit realizing that. So, I don't know if I played that extremely well. I mean... Taunt into I don't know how much their Bleak Wind was doing. I guess since it was offensive Torn, the fact that being able to have Flutter Mane around was super useful. Was it necessary to win the game? I don't think so, because I think Darkrai could have came in and had a really good spot regardless. But yeah, like, it obviously made my life a lot easier dodging the Bleak Wind. But it's not like, I mean, I went for my own Bleak Winds to turn 2, I think, and I just needed to hit one of them, ideally, get damage in a Kyogre, or I might not even have to hit the Lando, so I don't think it was too bad, but yeah. All right, we have Miraidon, Lunala, Urshifu, Incineroar, Rillaboom, and the Whimsicott. Now, This should be interesting. I am probably okay with this realistically. Yeah, I don't really hate this position. I guess Darkrai is pretty decent here. I don't know what they're leading. If they lead Whimsicott, Miraidon, I should be okay. But even then, I think I have to match Tailwind against this team. Dealing with the Miraidon, though, is really tough. I could lead Groudon. I don't know if I want to lead Groudon because I think we go down to... Actually, no, I think Groudon's fine. Groudon plus Torn is probably okay against this team. If I have Flutter Mane in back specifically. And then I'm going to bring the Darkrai. Even though I don't think Darkrai is that great, I think Raging Bolt is like 100% way better. We're showcasing the Darkrai. We're showcasing the Darkrai here. And I think it has value because, of course, dealing with the Lunala. Because the Terra against me might be the decision to go for Terra Fairy with Miraidon. Which means I have a good offense with Dark Pulse against Lunala. So let's see. Also, it punishes Rillaboom, which is huge. Okay, we see Lunala plus Whimsicott, which is interesting lead. Okay. Don't be Fake Tears. Don't be Meteor Beam. And we should be fine. I'm willing to go for Precipice. Do I want to go for spread moves? Because I don't think they're going to wide guard turn one. Like, this is very passive for them. I think I'm willing to just draw out the Precipice Blades here. And I want to protect turn one because I could definitely see... Do I want to protect this turn one? If it's Meteor Beam, I want to protect. If I think it's Electric Seed, I want to go for Bleak Wind. I think I protect. I think this is Meteor Beam. All right, we protect our Torn turn one. Tailwind goes up. I will also have to accept that I could get Encore the next turn. Wait, they Moonguy's being the Torn. Okay, that works. That works. Take good damage. Nice. Okay. Good damage. Leftovers? Oh, it's Calm Mind Lunala. Okay. Yeah, do I care about my sash on Darkrai? Not really. I think I just Precipice Blades and I swap. I could also Terra Dark. I think the play is just to go Darkrai though. So I pressure the Lunala and I go for Precipice Blades for big damage. I hope they're not Fake Tears or Endeavor into my Groudon, which is definitely an option. But like, do I have another play? I have to dodge the Encore. Oh, okay. I should Tailwinded. Granted, I don't think there was like a counterplay that I had to this exact scenario, so this is playable, but it's not easy. Okay. Yeah, this is playable. It's not easy though, for sure. Oh, we're gonna go into Torn here. Like I would have had to read the Endeavor. It's just what it is. I go for Tailwind here. And I go for a Blizzard, I think. Or I could go for Dark Void. Yeah, they could go Miraidon. I'm just going to Blizzard. I also want to get rid of Whimsicott because I really want to get rid of Whimsicott. They do switch out, it looks like, into Miraidon and probably Terra Fairy, which means I get a decent Blizzard off into Miraidon at least, which is actually decent damage. Assuming I hit, of course. I'm assuming I hit, of course. Yeah, they go for Terror. So this is not terrible of a spot because I think Flutter Mane still has a really good position, but the question is what the last mon is. Because if it's like Urshifu, I feel like I'm fine. If it's Rillaboom or Incin, it gets tricky. So if it's Incin, it might be okay, but we'll see. Get the Tailwind off. The Blizzard, at least into the Miraidon. Double miss. Well, that is the Blizzard, unfortunately. Oh, they're Dazzling Gleam too. Okay. Is there counterplay? I don't think so. I think I just lose off that. Because at least if I got damage in the Miraidon, I could double protect this turn, stall out their last turn of Tailwind, and then start going for more damage. But at this point, I just don't see an out. Maybe there is. Maybe I can get Flutter Mane in now. So my idea is to get Flutter Mane in on a Dazzling Gleam. Hope that they Dazzling Gleam and Volt Switch to Torn. Yeah, this is like my only out. I need to have Flutter Mane in healthy and then threaten the damage because that's all I can really do. Oh, they have Protect Miraidon, which is actually really good for me. Please tell me they Gleamed. I think they should. Or Moongeist Beam to Torn. Okay, they Gleamed. Ideally, Moongeist Beam to Torn would have been better, but this still works. Okay. All right, beautiful. I don't think you're ever going to go for Wide Guard here. So my place will always go for Taunt into the Lunala, and I think we go for a Specs Dazzling Gleam here. Because I think Miraidon stays in, unless they have Rillaboom or Instant back. But yeah, they're not going to Wide Guard because I could just Moonblast a slot, I'm pretty sure. I get a Taunt off so they can't ever Wide Guard, so I can always go for like Bleak Wind, Dazzling Gleam the next turn, which is big. But let's see. Okay, we get a Taunt off into the Lunala. This is probably Moongeist Beam into one of my slots, but I'm not sure which one. We get a Dazzling Gleam off. This is Choice Specs Terra Fairy. I think we should knock out Miraidon. Yep. Good damage to Lunala too. I think Lunala goes down to Bleak Wind plus the Dazzling Gleam the next turn. It is Moongeist Beam into Flutter. That makes sense. Okay. We do barely survive. The problem is I think we lose to whatever's in the back if it's... Unless it's Urshifu. Urshifu gives me a chance. I think Instant or Rilla pretty much makes me lose the game instantly. Okay, it's Rilla. It's game over. Actually, is it? Maybe not. Maybe not. I can hope this is like non-Assault Vest Rilla. Like I easily Bleak Wind here, right? I think I lose no matter what, actually. What would I need? I think I need a crit Bleak Wind KOing Rilla, which I don't even think KOs. And then I need a speed drop on Lunala because that would have... Because maybe Flutter Mane would outspeed the Lunala even if they tail next turn. Because they have Tailwind Whimsicott back, so I need a speed drop on Lunala and I need a crit knockout Rilla. That's basically my win con here. A Grassy Glide knock out my Darkrai, which makes sense. It was the Darkrai. Bleak Wind gonna come out. All right, we land. Oh yeah, crit was not knocking out that Rillaboom meter, so yeah, it's game over for sure. Especially because the Lunala is going to be out of range. Maybe it doesn't even KOs. Yeah, that just KOs. So yeah, it was just game over. Like, I did need the speed drop and I needed this Rillaboom to not be bulky and I needed Bleak Wind to double KO. But yeah, this just made sense. What went wrong? Well, having the damage would have been really nice on the Miraidon potentially, because I might not have had to gone for like the plays that I made earlier. But that was Blizzard. I think the Endeavor Whimsicott was just tough. I mean, it was a call and I mean, I just had to get the call. Like, even then, like, even if I get the call, like, I have to Bleak Wind that situation. I can't, like, if I Tailwind, it doesn't accomplish anything. So I think what I had to do was just read what the Whimsicott was doing, whether it was Endeavor or Encore. There was another play I did have, which was go for Terra Dark with Torn. I wasn't sure if I wanted to save the Terra for Flutter Mane though. But maybe since Darkrai was expendable, maybe I should have went Darkrai for the Groudon Bleak Wind. But I think I'd only make that play if I'm like confident Endeavor. So I don't think there was like a play in the moment that I had or at the time state that I was in that like guaranteed. I think I just had to hard read whether the Whimsicott was Endeavor or if it was an Encore situation. I did think it was less likely for Encore because I could be Mental Herb, I could be Terra Dark, and they know that I could probably respect it. At least I assume so. But yeah, like, I think it just really came down to that turn. And then maybe the Blizzard help could have, but I don't know how much it does to Lunala. Maybe that extra chip could have actually mattered. Maybe it could have been like a Moonblast situation instead. But yeah, Rillaboom in back was super tough too. All right, we have Whimsicott, Zamazenta, Urshifu, Annihilate, Indeedee, and Calyrex. So I think this is going to be a very hyper offensive team. I imagine the Calyrex is maybe like Life Orb or Specs. The Zamazenta is quite threatening. All right, how do I want to perform against this? Because I don't know if I really go with Sandy Shock's Dark Void angle here. Could it be Scarf on Urshifu? Maybe. It could also be Scarf Annihilate. So things I'm going to have to keep in mind. I do want to go to Tailwind mode, but there is the Entity, which is, of course, super threatening. I think lead-wise, they also have the Whimsicott, which makes this a little bit tricky. I'm thinking Whimsicott leads here. Groudon should be bulky enough to survive any hit from these Pokemon, so I think Groudon Torn is still always my best lead. Have Flutter Mane in the back because we're speed booster, so we can actually threaten even under the Tailwind, and then I think the Darkrai last. The only problem is going to be the Entity, but if they lead Entity, I think I have to make a play potentially. Yeah, I think I have to make a play. But I don't think they lead Entity. I think they lead Whimsicott. Yeah, they led Whimsicott Annihilate. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. I don't mind this. I'm going to make a bit of an interesting play. I think they might have Final Gambit on the 8, which is fine. I'm going to go out into Flutter Mane, actually, and go for a Taunt into the Whimsicott. The reason I'm going to go for the Taunt into Whimsicott is because of the fact that I don't think it's Mental Herb. I don't think Entity is switching in. We're probably going to trade Tailwinds and they're going to go for Final Gambit. And if they do that, it's the perfect position, right? Because now I get the Flutter Mane in. They're usually locked into Final Gambit because they usually hold Choice Scarf. And then I can go for Dazzling Gleam afterward and protect the next turn, which would be massive. So do get the speed boost. Tailwind does come out. Is this Final Gambit? If they Final Gambit the Torn, it's annoying, but I just don't see them ever Final Gambiting the Torn if they have it. We do get the Taunt off in the Whimsicott, so it can't go for like any Encores or something else. Exactly. Perfect. Now this next turn, I can pretty much just threaten whatever. I could go for Shadow Ball. I could go for Moonblast. I have pretty good position here. I kind of like the idea of throwing off a Shadow Ball, but turning down the Whimsicott slot and protecting the Torn. And because the Whimsicott could switch out, if it doesn't, that's fine. It can't Encore my Torn, so I can get the Tailwind up the next turn. They go for Moonblast to get damage in the Flutter. That makes sense. And, oh, they're not Scarf? Oh, I thought they were Scarf. Granted, I think this is still fine, but... I was really hoping they were locked into Final Gambit. I guess we gotta go Darkrai. And ladies and gentlemen, I think you know what time the move to click here is. Dark Void and Tailwind. Man. If we hit the Dark Voids, we're in good spots, but of course this move is super inaccurate. Oh, it could be Vital Spirit Annihilate too, but I assume it's Defiant. Dude, okay, no. Dark Void, for some reason, usually tells you if you miss after the move animation. It's Vital Spirit! It's Vital Spirit Annihilate! Alright, we get the Whimsicott sleeping. I mean, this is still an okay spot. They go for Shadow Claw because they read the Terra Ghost, but I have Focus Sash, so it didn't matter. They get the crit, I guess, but it doesn't matter. Bad Dreams breaks the Sash on Whimsicott, which is nice. All right, we need the Whimsicott to stay asleep, and we get Bleakwind Dark Pulse. Hopefully knock out the Ape. If they Terra or they survive for some reason, because maybe there are Solvest on this build, because I'm kind of curious. I guess it could be like Goggles Ape. No, did they Moonblast? Oh, they woke up, which is unfortunate. They get a Moonblast off of the Darkrai. This is not looking good. And depending on the Whimsicott set, the crit might have mattered on the damage. Maybe. I don't know how much. I feel like Darkrai might take a Moonblast decently okay. But we do get a double knockout. And we do have Tailwind control. So this might not be an over game. Because we still have Tailwind for another turn. Or we have 2 turns of Tailwind, which is nice. We can go into Groudon. Question is, are you wide guarding here? Zamazenta and Calyrex. Yep. I don't think it should be Sash Calyrex on this team. I think it's Life Orb or Specs. I think my best play is to always just go for a Bleakwind here and a high horsepower with Terra Ground, because I never Terra the Torn here. So we're gonna go for Terra Ground High Horsepower, which I imagine with Choice Band would knock out. And I'm just gonna go for a Bleak Wind into Zamazenta. Again, I'm thinking that this is gonna be offensive Calyrex. We're gonna see a Terra probably from the Zamazenta to get rid of its ground weakness. Wait, what? We went for Terra Ghost. Why did they go for Terra Ghost? I'm the one who's faster. Oh, maybe they just think with Wide Guard they're safe. Because if they think this Groudon has one Shadow Claw, like the Shadow Claw Assault Vests or the Crunch Assault Vests, this one makes sense. But also B, they might be clicking Wide Guard here because Groudon without the Choice Band or Terra wouldn't be able to KO Calyrex. Other than maybe like Terrifier Heat Crash, which I probably would have went for. But alright, if they're Sash, I just auto lose here anyway. So I just need a high horsepower to KO the Calyrex. I'm faster because I do have the Tailwind and their Tailwind expired the last turn. And delaying the Tailwind was part of my plan here. There's Scarf. But there's no way KOs either of my Mons. Yeah. Okay, we get a high horsepower. The Shidoko to Cali. Okay. Wasn't expecting Scarf Zamazenta, but I mean, I don't know if I win or not. I don't know if I win or not. It depends on how much this high horsepower does, and we still got to connect moves. So high horsepower to Zamazenta. We have one more turn of Tailwind available, so this is always high horsepower to Zama. And I think we Bleak Wind, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure we Bleak Wind here. Because I think it's the same odds regardless if I go for like Protect or something. I do good damage with the Bleak Wind. Does the high horsepower connect? We do connect the high horsepower. I think that should KO Zamazenta to win. Beautiful. Was not expecting the Scarf on the Calyrex out of any Mons. Vital Spirit Annihilate actually came into play, which is shocking. But yeah, it did help them. But luckily, I was able to... Like, we traded a 2v2 situation. We both had Terra. I guess you're right that the Calyrex wasn't like a... It was a more offensive set. I thought it'd be Choice Specs or Life Orb, but no, it's Scarf on this team. I was able to get the KO, which is beautiful with the high horsepower. If they went for Body Press, it would have just been a very disastrous one. But they were thinking, okay, if he's not like Choice Band or Terra thing, unless I go for like Terrifier Heat Crash, which would KO Calyrex, then I'd KO their Calyrex. And they can't really risk me going for Precipice Blades, because if I get Precipice Blades damage, because they Terra Ghosted the Calyrex, they're in a really rough spot, especially with Bleak Wind and Speed Drop potential. So they were kind of forced to go for the Wide Guard since the Calyrex couldn't protect. So I understand it, and yeah, I was able to KO the Calyrex, and thankfully also KO the Zamazenta next turn by landing the attacks. Alright, we have Arceus, Rillaboom, Chien-Pao, Eternatus, Urshifu, and Skeledirge. I think we played this on the channel. I'm pretty sure it was Meteor Beam Lunala with Ice Shard Chien-Pao, as well as the Arceus being Terra Water for some reason. So things I'm going to have to keep in mind. Groudon's really good in this matchup. They don't have the best Groudon answers, so that's something that's going to be really good. I think I just lead Sandy Shocks plus Darkrai. They don't have the best answer to it. Granted, they do have priority, like a lot of priority, so something I'm going to have to keep in mind. But maybe it's not that lead if that's the case. If I'm expecting Rillaboom plus the Chien-Pao, I don't have anything good defensively against that because I'm not Terrifier on any of these Mons. That's not good. I feel like I'm gonna have to lead Torn in this matchup. I think I do have to lead Torn in this matchup because I don't see how. I think it's Groudon plus Torn. And then in the back, Darkrai plus... Is it Sandy? It might be Sandy. This is such a weird one here. Yeah, this is such a weird one. I'm going with back Dark Void mode because if they just lead Chien-Pao plus the Rillaboom, they have Ice Shard, Grassy Glide, and Fake Out Pressure, which are really bad for me. They lead Rillaboom Arceus though. Okay. Huh. I don't think this is awful for me. I should be able to get a taunt off into the Arceus. Oh yeah, it's max speed drum beating. I forget it's max speed drum beating. I don't think the Arceus can really do that much damage to me. If it's drum beating, can't knock out the Groudon, so I feel like I just heat crash and taunt. They're probably just gonna fake out anyway. They do fake out the Groudon as I expect, so taunt is my best play here into the Arceus. Do they have Sword Stance? I know they had Extreme Speed and Liquidation. I'm pretty sure just Sword Stance. Yeah. Okay, I get that play right at least. I still don't have a switch into an attack from the Rillaboom, unfortunately, so I either have to guess it's going to Terrasilize or not. I think I always just Heat Crash, though, the Rilla, and I Tailwind. Hey, that's beautiful. Did they Grassy Glide? I don't think that KOs. Well, maybe they're Mirror. No, they should be max speed Assault Vests. So I don't think they are. I get the Tailwind off. Okay, they did go for the Grassy Glide. Shouldn't KO, though. Yeah, it doesn't. Perfect. Because I'm a bulky Groudon, and I do get a Heat Crash off, which is massive. So I do get a knockout into Rillaboom, which is really big because the Rillaboom was such a big threat to me in general. So I do get rid of Rillaboom, which is nice. Unfortunately, I didn't have the Terra Fire. If I had Terra Fire, I'd be in such a good spot there. But unfortunately, just have to go with what we have. This is going to be Chien Pao, okay? So this is probably Extreme Speed into Groudon and an attack. I don't think I can waste turns not having momentum of attacking, so I will Heat Crash the Chien Pao. The question is it worth protecting at all or going for my Terra? I could go... I think I save a Terra Ghost for the end game. I think it's more viable here. So I think I'd rather just Bleak Wind and break a potential Sash on a Chien Pao. They go for Extreme Speed to knock out the Groudon, which I had no switch into, so that's fine. I placed it to Pow. Okay, we missed Arceus. I mean, granted, we would have wanted to damage an Arceus, but that's still not terrible. Speed drop is nice, but it's not necessary. You go for Ice Spinner, get rid of Terrain, which is actually helpful, because that means they won't be recovering HP. All right, this is doable, I suppose. I have to get the target right, though. I do have to get the target right. So the question is, where is the double up going into? Are they doubling up the Darkrai, or are they doubling up the... Sandy Shocks? Because Extreme Speed Ice Shark takes a knockout into both, and I kind of need to get this right. If I think they're going to double up the Sandy Shocks, I should Terra the Sandy Shocks, Gravity Dark Void. If I think they double up the Darkrai, I think my play is to protect and go for a Thunderbolt KO into Pow. I feel like it's... I think I'm going to go for Gravity and Dark Void. I think they're targeting the Sandy because I think it's probably Eternatus back. So I could definitely see them doubling up the Sandy. Because I think Sandy's a more offensive threat, but we'll see. Nice. Nice. Oh, that's so huge. Okay, intuition is correct. Get the Gravity up, and if we get this Dark Void, the Arceus hasn't taken a sleep turn yet. We need both, ideally, here. Okay. Dark Void connects with Chien Pao and Arceus. Arceus is asleep, and we'll get some beautiful chip damage with Bad Dreams. Nice. All right, beautiful. Ideally, we have the Arceus asleep too, but what's great is we still have our Sash on our Darkrai intact. So now we can go for a Dark Pulse into the slot, and we can go for an Earth Power into the Chien Pao. They still have Terra available, which is a bit scary, but granted, it's not unplayable. Also, I'm kind of curious on how fast their Eternatus is, because I don't know if they're max speed or not. Okay, we get an Earth Power to KO the Pao, so Pao goes down. Excellent. And the Dark Pulse plus the Bad Dream should start adding up into this Arceus. I don't know if Earth Power will KO the Arceus after Bad Dreams. Pro Synthesis wears off, but we have Booster Energy, so we're fast again. All right, excellent. There should be a Eternatus coming in. Ellen Peters out. I mean, I can Dark Void, but the question is, does the Arceus wake up and get an Extreme Speed off? And then how fast is the Eternatus? I just don't know if I KO the Arceus. I think I just go for Dark Void and I Earth Power the Arceus. Actually, no, I Thunderbolt the Arceus because it's Terra Water. They shouldn't ever Terra in this. Oh, no, they woke up. You get the extreme speed off. How fast is their Eternatus? How fast is their Eternatus? I get a Thunderbolt off, KO to Arceus. I was guaranteed to KO after Life Orb, but I just wasn't sure. Protect Thunderbolt might have been the play, but I don't know if they target my other slot. Okay, no, I am faster than Eternatus. It is modest. I get the Dark Void off. Also, they did not Terra, which is crazy to me. So what is the Eternatus Terra? Because Rillaboom didn't Terra, Pal didn't Terra, the Arceus didn't Terra. I feel like the Eternatus has to have Terra, right? Unless they're for some reason like Terra Fairy, maybe? I mean, I go for Dark Pulse here and I go for Earth Power, I'm pretty sure. Okay, I'm trying to think about this. Do I go for... Actually, yeah, no, I definitely attack here. I definitely go for a Dark Pulse and a Earth Power. They're not Terraing. Are they Stellar Terra? That's the only way that makes sense to me. Because I don't... Or maybe they have a Terra that's just maybe like Terra Ghost or something. But we do knock out the Eternatus and we somehow squeak a win out of this. Like... I had to make a really hard read on where they were going with their priorities, because if I got the target wrong, it was really bad. The reason I also thought that they were unlikely to extreme speed the Darkrai is because the Terra Ghost might be so obvious on the Darkrai that they would probably want to go more for the extreme speed into the Sandy Shocks, which is also, again, a more offensive threat to them in general, because Darkrai can't knock out the POW at that range with the Dark Pulse solo, and they also can't... Also, Sandy Shocks is threatening more damage into Water Arceus as well as the Eternatus in the back. So that's another reason. And luckily, I did get those plays right, because that was a really tough one there. It was really tough. All right, let's go over to games. And game one was an instant turn one win as I got the mind game right. And yeah, they couldn't KO the Darkrai with just a regular Surging Strike, so they had to go Kyogre. And because they didn't redirect the Thunderbolt that was threatening the Urshifu with the Sandy Shocks, I was just able to KO with my Sandy Shocks into the Urshifu as Indeedee swapped out in Kyogre. And I landed the Dark Void as well. And it was pretty much an over game from there. In game two, well, like... it hit the first Dark Void, but let me just say they had a very, very tricky Torn to hit, because I missed 4 moves onto that Tornadus. Like, if I hit the first Dark Void, I'm in an amazing spot into the Torn, and I only need to hit the Torn because the Calc's protected. I had to hit both of them the second time, and yeah, it didn't really work out well. So that is just the nature of using Darkrai, unfortunately, without the gravity, but that is sometimes how it goes. In game 3, Choice banned Precipice Blades plus Bleak Wind. I was just able to continue clicking this move into my opponents, and it's super funny because the one move they went for, which was the Draco Meteor with the Raging Bull, was the one move that missed in the entire game, even though I was just spamming Precipice Blades and Bleak Wind. Pokemon is just a funny game sometimes. In game 4, oh man, this was a bit tricky, and if I had just gone for a Dark Pulse instead of the Dark Void, reading the Miraidon to switch, I would have been in a fantastic spot, but unfortunately that is not the case, and it was a bit tricky. However, my Flutter Mane was just super clutch, surviving the Sucker Punch from the Chien-Pao at 1 HP, and was able to fire back at the Dazzling Gleam that was able to seal the victory. In game 5, was able to dodge the Bleak Wind with my Flutter Mane, and I was able to do a ton of damage. Granted, I don't think it was like the best turn 1 play, because it could have been like Trick Room Valiant. I could have went for the Taunt instead. I could have just went for a Bleak Wind immediately, and that actually might have been a better case. But I'm not 100% sure. At the end of the day, I was able to have a great spot because they didn't bring the Cali Ice and was able to threaten a lot. There was like chances for me to miss Bleak Wind as well, but I don't think it would have really mattered too much, and that is just the cost of the move and how it goes sometimes. In game 6, facing off this Whimsicott plus Lunala combination, which was a little bit tricky because of the wide guard potential as well as like some other stuff. I just had to kind of have the Groudon lead, and I kind of had to figure out, okay, what are they going to do? The turn 1 was fantastic, but the turn 2 was really tricky because of the Endeavor situation. I was having to guess between Endeavor and Encore, and because it was probably Focus Sash with how much it took from the Precipice Blades, I knew it could be potentially Eater. So I think it was just like a guessing game from there. Another play that I did have access to was just going for a Terra Dark with Torn over Bleak Wind. I wanted to save my Terra just in case I needed it on Flutter Mane, but it did end up costing me my Groudon, and a lot of momentum was just lost. In game 7, Vital Spirit Annihilate, that wasn't Choice Scarf, because I really thought I got them on the final Gambit into my Flutter Mane as I switched in, and was hoping, oh, they're locked in, and then I'd be able to stall out the Tailwind turns from their side, get my Tailwind up, and have a really good spot. So that was the goal that I had. Unfortunately, that was not the case, but thankfully, I was just able to do enough damage in the end game where I was able to seal the victory. In game 8, some hard reads, but I was able to get it right against the targets with the smart one into Sandy Shocks, going for the terrestrialization, dodging the extreme speed from Arceus, and then was able to get absolutely huge momentum from there. It got a little bit risky with the Eternatus because of the fact that it could have been like Timid Eternatus, but I had assumptions that it was most likely not, and luckily they had to be Timid Eternatus and get the 1-turn sleep turn, and I felt my odds were pretty good. They did get the 1-turn sleep turn, but I was able to just get that Dark Void off into Eternatus and seal up the win. So how was Darkrai? It is a bit rough. Dark Void nerf on this Pokemon. Like, I don't think this Pokemon is crazy compared to other Mythicals, and that might just be an opinion, but Dark Void is an absolutely strong move. There is for certain. But when you have like high legends and Mythicals at this stage with like Miraidon as well and a bunch of others, do I think it's the craziest mon out there? I mean, it doesn't have Moody, which I think is like a big contributor of how Smeargle can be a thing with how it used to get evasion back in the day, and then speed boost as well. But Darkrai is pretty consistent across the board, so I don't think it's as bad, and I don't think it needed the Dark Void nerf if Smeargle was not able to use Dark Void at all. So yeah, like, it is a bit unfortunate I think what happened to Dark Void, but like, it is still a really strong move, but you just a lot more inconsistent nowadays, or less likely to hit your moves. However, was it a fun mon? Absolutely. If you'd like to try out the team, the rental code is on the screen. Hopefully it's still available by the time the video comes out. If you'd like to check out the details of the team and the creator, they'll be linked in the description down below. And of course, subscribe to the channel for more VGC content as always.